It was on the ground. It slid down off a trash can, and I thought, like, oh, I hope it's okay. I thought it was stunned or something, but it was still awake, and I kind of just nudged it with my finger, and it hopped right on my finger.
Oh, my God.
That's because
the coolest.
that was your dead grandpa.
You're like Snow White.
Right? I was like a Disney princess for a minute. Like, that's the closest I've ever got.
And we are into another new hour. Insensitivity training for a politically correct world. Thank you for being here and giving us some of your valuable time today. Appreciate that. I'm Woody. That's Greg Gorey.
It's like, hoy.
We got Menace.
Hi.
Gina Grad is here.
Yeah.
Seabass is riding y'all.
Yeah, boy.
There's Sammy.
Morning.
Morgan's here taking your calls. 877-44-WOODY. You can send us a text over to 22987. Vaughn's here. We got Bort. We got Menji holding down the Woody Show production department. Man, we got to do a pretty cool thing earlier this week with the Woody Show After Hours takeover at Disney California Adventure Park. Pretty cool thing as a lifelong Disney fan.
Right.
I had a moment where I was walking around by myself to go meet up with my wife and kids at the event. And I was walking by and, I kind of had a moment where I realized what was going on. And I saw like the Woody Show logo up in Cars Land. And I realized that these are all listeners to my show. And
That's incredible.
I can't believe we're really doing this.
Yeah.
This is
What?
I mean, how many times that you've been to Disney or whatever doesn't matter. I mean, it's a nostalgia thing for me, Disney. It always has been. And then as I got to be an adult, got to go more and more, and to have that experience
It's incredible.
is it's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Definitely one of the coolest things I would say that I've gotten to experience. I mean, just the whole thing of having the run of the park. Now, is it the coolest thing I've ever done? I can't say it's the coolest thing I've ever done, because the coolest thing I've ever done, and this is the question for the room and for people listening.
Witness the birth of your children?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
It's
Marry
such
the
a
love of your
miracle,
life?
though.
Yeah.
No, that's not it.
Finding out what love is?
No.
Oh,
Weak.
All right.
By far the coolest thing I've ever done, I've told the story before, is when I got to take a flight with the Thunderbirds.
That was my
right.
guess.
Yeah.
The U.S. Air Force invited me to take a ride with the Thunderbirds. They were coming to town for an air show, and it was me. I was living in St. Louis at the time. It was me, a player from the St. Louis Cardinals, and a player from the St. Louis Blues. We were the three people that they invited, and we got to go up and fly with those guys, which was incredible. What an experience.
Yeah.
That I
I've
can't
told-
imagine.
I've told the story before, so by far that is the coolest thing I've ever gotten to
and
do.
you didn't
Yeah.
pass out?
No, of the three of us, I was the last person to go.
Hell yeah.
They did it over the course of 3 days, so one person per day. And so they told me I was the only person out of the three that did not pass out and or vomit.
Wow.
Because I followed all the instructions that they sent over. They sent over all these things like 2 weeks out, week and a half out, 1 week out, 48 hours, 24 hours, day of, what you're supposed to do or not do. And I followed it because I didn't want to ruin the experience.
Yeah.
It's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Woody is good at like studying and doing things properly that he's into. Like he's
Oh, yeah,
very good
for
at that
sure.
stuff.
Well, look at the flight training stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
True.
I was never into studying,
Look at you now.
and now it's all I do. I have notebooks, and I'm taking notes, and I'm like doing
You're
all
a
these things.
voracious reader now.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Coolest thing you've ever gotten to do, Gina Grad?
Well, I do have to say that the takeover is right up there. Unbelievable. But if I'm really looking at big picture, at least for my adulthood, I got to say, because I'm not much of a daredevil, jumping off the stratosphere in Las Vegas is one of the greatest things I've ever done.
That's cool. I definitely want to do that. I've seen where it's like a bungee jump thing.
Yeah. It's a jump all the way down, actually. You don't go back up. And it was this probably the scariest thing I've ever done. And there were a couple of tears. And then I just stepped off the plank, and it was the greatest feeling in the world.
So
Really?
cool.
Yeah,
Have you
I
ever
loved
gone
it.
skydiving?
No.
Would you?
Oh, you should. I think I would. Yeah, now I
Yeah.
think I'm ready.
It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. Tandem. I don't trust myself to pull the
Oh,
cord.
no. No, you don't want to do a static line jump. If for anybody who's listening who's never done it and you're interested in it, don't waste your time with static line. If you're going to do a tandem. That's where they have somebody who's strapped to you on your back, and then they're just with you. They know exactly what they're doing. So if you do pass out or whatever, no big deal.
They got you.
Yeah. But
I would do that or base jumping.
because the static line is like
no way.
one end is tied to your parachute pack, the other end of that is tied still to the plane, and so when it exhausts itself, it pulls the chute.
Oh.
Okay, and so you don't get that free fall experience, which is the
Oh.
whole point.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Anybody
the
can
free
take-
fall's
yeah.
the best part.
Like if you just want to experience like what a parachute might feel like, do like I don't know what do they call it, parasailing.
Oh, I've
Yeah,
done that.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
fun.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
That's
It's not
fine.
the same.
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's fun, but like the whole point of jumping out of the plane is the free fall.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Coolest thing you've ever done, Greg Gorey.
I think it's because I get so geeked out about seeing how TV works and stuff. So Menace was part of this. I was such a huge fan of that show, The Middle. And it
Oh,
was
yeah.
starring
Oh, that's
Patricia
right,
Heaton, my good friend Patty.
Right.
And
As Greg calls her.
we
yeah.
got to the set, and which what we thought was going to be, kind of your basic tour. Oh no, it was so much more than that. Got to watch them film, sat down with the entire cast in the set of the house, in the dining room of the house,
Yeah.
had lunch with the entire cast.
That was so
Talked to
fun.
them for a couple hours and then sat in director's chairs with a script in our hands and a headset and watched
Ooh.
them film.
It
It
was
was surreal. It was so cool.
Yeah,
I
it's
was
cool.
mega geeked out about that.
Well, we also took a tour and we got to hang out on the set of the Goldbergs.
That was awesome.
Back when we were both really into that show.
So
That's
into
fun.
it.
And-
Met the kid.
It was really cool.
Met the mom. That was really fun.
Yeah, but like walk through the house and
It was so that kind of stuff. I just geeks me out beyond belief.
yeah, the how it's done.
How it's done, seeing
behind
it,
the scenes
seeing
thing.
the script, seeing how they film, seeing how they have stunt doubles if they just have to do a tripping scene.
Yeah.
It's just so cool.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's how I felt too. Like with the experience with Mayans
Yeah,
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
being a part of it,
That's crazy.
exactly.
and how like when you get shot, like all the stuff where they put the packs,
Squibs.
the squibs.
Yeah, I love stuff like
they
that.
wire you up, and next thing I know, like my chest is exploding, and there's fake blood everywhere, and how to fall. Like it's just the whole how it works and how it comes together,
It's
and then
so
seeing the
interesting.
final project,
And then
you know?
seeing it in person, it almost looks kind
Pretty
of
cool.
basic, but when you see it on TV,
Yes.
it just looks bigger. It looks
it's cool.
different. Yeah.
So wait, what? You did not have a stunt double for your falling over?
What?
No, in fact, they
way.
did bring a guy in who looked just like me
Ah,
for the scene where, because I was a member of the Sons of Anarchy
Right.
in Mayans MC that was on FX,
Yeah.
and my character, everybody dies in that show. My character meets his death from Edward James Olmos's character with
Sweet.
a sawed-off double-barrel shotgun. So he comes out of the kitchen, I shoot at him, he shoots at me, blows my chest out with this double-barrel shotgun, and I'm supposed to fall, right? And like face first, like just drop because
Yeah.
you just got killed by this double-barrel shotgun. And the guy is the showrunner and director. He's like, "Hey, man," he goes, "I think you can just do this." He goes, "We don't need. Don't you just want to do it yourself?" I'm like, "Do whatever you want." I was just happy to be a part of it. And he's like, "All right, so here's the thing. When people die, the thing I don't like about these Hollywood stunt guys is that they get shot and they flail
Yeah.
and they drop." He goes, "Dude, and this guy has a pretty badass, dark background. Used to be part of a gang and
He's like,
the whole
it ain't
thing."
like that.
He goes, "When people get shot, he goes, it's like somebody takes a pair of like gardening shears to your spine, boom,
Oh,
and you just drop. There is no flail. There's no. You just like it's
dramatic.
it's like someone just
Jerking
pulled the
around.
plug. It's not like you wind down. You just drop." He goes, "That's what I want you to do." And I go, "Cool." So they had me go in the other room with a couple of the coordinators, and we just practiced a few days. Like, "Ah, you got it, dude. It hurts because it's a hardwood floor. You're in this house,
Oh yeah.
where the scene is taking place. It's hardwood floors.
Give you a little wrestling mat?
yeah, no
Oh
matter.
no,
Crash pad?
no! There's a little area rug, but
Oh,
it's,
wow.
when it's my fat ass falling, straight. Yeah, it was. But
feel it.
man, it was cool. It was really cool.
And to be shot by Edward James
I
almost.
know.
What an honor.
I know.
Dude,
Rip.
crazy.
Yeah, Menace. What about you? Coolest thing you ever got to do?
Man, it's tough because I try to have a good time all the time. But maybe it's like a smoking weed with Snoop Dogg was pretty
Oh,
cool
yeah.
at his compound, like where he basically lives. It wasn't a house; it was like a straight up like almost
like a warehouse.
warehouse type
Yeah.
of thing.
That
Airplane
was-
hangar kind of
Yeah.
thing.
That was
we
one of
like-
the items on Menace's birthday
Yeah,
list.
and I'm not just saying like just we took a quick puff. I'm talking about we were in there for like 6 hours straight smoking weed.
Wasn't
Yeah.
the
I
joint
felt
like 10 inches long or something?
Yeah, it was like as long as my arm.
Yeah.
and
And Menace came right to work after that.
Uh-huh.
yeah,
That's insane.
and it was
He was there all
cool.
night.
And he had an ashtray guy, which was
Yeah.
like that's when I learned about an ashtray guy, where a guy came in with like 13 different ashtrays, and Snoop picked them out.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
the
cool.
dude who cuts my hair at Hammer and Nail is Snoop's current ashtray guy.
Oh,
What?
nice. Sweet.
Yeah, because I'd mentioned that story because he was talking about Snoop. I was like, oh, yeah. And I showed him the picture of you with Snoop.
You know what else I do?
He goes, yeah, my boy works for Snoop right now. I go, oh, yeah, what's he do? He goes, man, he got these. I said, I heard about the ashtray stuff. He goes, oh,
Part-time
dude, it's
ashtray
legit.
guy.
He goes, and it pays real good.
Yeah, and Snoop like points out where he wants the ashtray to
Yes.
stay down. That was cool.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun just recently kicking a field goal at the Superdome. They allowed me just like it was empty and just like kicking that. Our friends that own a Lamborghini dealership, they let me take out one of the cars and just let it rip. That was pretty cool. I don't know. It's hard to even remember some of this.
Meeting your wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what about that?
Married?
Yeah,
That was fun.
That was cool.
Yeah, what about falling in love, Menace?
Yeah, that was cool.
Taco Bell wedding?
What about consummating your marriage?
Yeah, for the first time.
Seabass, coolest thing you've ever gotten to do?
I know it's a cliche since the movie Office Space when Lawrence says 2 chicks at the same time, but it really is.
Okay, what's second then?
So was gonna jump the gun and say he was gonna say that.
But
Right.
here's the thing.
What's second
No,
place?
no. And I'm not saying just any chicks. We've hinted at this before because there's this artwork that somebody made about it. But I went to a concert with adult film star Riley Reid and adult film star Abby Maley, and we had a great time at Florence and the Machine of all things.
Just enjoyed music.
We just enjoyed music,
Yeah.
and it was odd. Okay, I haven't really talked about this story in depth, but it was odd because Riley Reid, this is before she had her kid and all that stuff, spent the entire, again, not Two Live Crew, not Trippie Redd, Florence and the Machine, spent the entire concert grinding on me in front of like 45-year-old wine ladies, NPR wine ladies,
Oh yeah.
Totally.
who are like looking at, I'm like, what am I supposed to do? It's like one of the greatest porn stars of all time doing this to me. Guys, I died happy that day.
Wow.
She's back too. I've seen her pop up on social media.
As she should be. She rules.
She died happy that day. She's so lucky.
Yeah.
What would be number 2 on your list?
Okay. I'm not even like, I know it's funny, but that's like, that was so awesome.
that was pretty
I'm like
cool.
literally smiling right now.
That's literally the coolest thing you've ever
Literally
done.
the cool, because I didn't know who Riley Reid was before I met her. She was just like a friend of a friend. And we're like walking around and people like, guys are like, hey, can I get a picture with you?
Yeah, she's like one of the most famous.
She's this decade's Jenna Jameson or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, insanely famous.
I'd probably know her if I saw her vagina. You know?
Yeah, right. Exactly.
One of those things.
Second to that, I don't know, man. That's about it. Like,
As the pinnacle.
well,
Getting
it's
your
also it's hard
Cybertruck?
to forget.
Cybertruck
because-
was awesome, but that took such a long time. That was 4 years coming. I kind of knew it was coming, so it wasn't as big of a like boom.
I mean,
sort of thing.
you got to play a cop in The Blind Side.
Yeah, but I was like, I was just an extra. Didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
and I
okay.
got to- I mean, wow.
All right. Sammy, coolest thing you've ever gotten to do?
Mine's going to track so hard for me. You're going to make fun of me. But when I held a hummingbird out in the wild was like the coolest. I know. You're like, oh, it sounds lame, but it's not, because how often would you ever get to hold a hummingbird just without trying, not having like, oh, I'm going to have like call it over with this sugar water or whatever, all these different things that you can try and do, or go to a sanctuary or something. I literally, it was on the ground, it slid down off a trash can, and I thought like, oh, I hope it's okay. I thought it was stunned or something, but it was still awake, and I kind of just nudged it with my finger, and it hopped right on my finger.
Oh
it
my
was
God.
That's
the
because
coolest.
that was your dead grandpa.
You're like
Yeah, exactly.
Snow White.
Right? I was like a Disney princess for a minute. Like, that's the closest I've ever got. And I held it on my finger, and it chilled for a while. It decided that it was gonna, fly away at a certain point, and it flew, and it like kind of hit a window and slid back down. And I was like, dude, again. So then I just slid my finger right underneath it, and it hopped right back on. And then I walked with
he
it and
missed
carried
you.
it over to like near a tree and just sat there until it
And then
flew
it
off
died.
into the tree. But it liked me, and it trusted me, and I was like, oh, babe.
Oh, that's
Wow.
so sweet.
Okay,
was
and that's the
sweet.
coolest thing in your
Well,
entire
I think
life?
it's very cool because it's not something that really happens often, right? Like, you
Yeah.
can't pay to do it. It's not like an experience that you could kind of like wiggle your way into. It just happened so naturally, and it really was like being a Disney princess.
Sammy found a terminally ill hummingbird.
Or a
No, it
blind
ended
one.
up being okay. It flew up into the tree after.
Aw.
I think it maybe was learning to fly. I don't know.
And I saw some video recently on social media where they had like a dove or something, and they released it, and it flew across a highway and got taken out by this truck.
No.
Yeah, it was
yeah,
like
where
a
they-
funeral kind of thing, and they're like, they're doing the whole thing, and then the two family members throw these birds up in the air, and the one bird goes flying across, and then here comes this truck, and boom, and they're like, That did not just happen.
I mean, it tracks for the funeral.
That's what I was expecting when he said it flew into the window. I thought you were going to say like it broke its neck and died.
Why would that be one of the coolest moments of my life when I watched a hummingbird die?
before that, the part before that where it landed on you.
Right, that part was cool.
That part.
Somebody
dying
called you
part.
a Disney grandma.
Kidding.
That's
Well,
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I love it.
That one, it was out in the woods and, very
Yeah, it's magical.
Sweet.
No,
Very
it was
organic
out
experience.
front when I was leaving work that day.
Oh.
It was literally right outside of our building. It was just bizarre and really cool.
Oh, that's right.
And magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
877-44-WOODY. You want to do a last man standing on that?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so that'll be the topic. What's the coolest thing you've ever done? Call in, share your story with us, and then we'll take the next call, hear out that story. Whichever one we go around the room and gets the most votes, that'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
We'll hear another story, and then by the end of the segment, by the end of the time that we have allotted for this, whoever has the best story will win a prize.
That sounds good.
So, coolest thing you've ever done. People like to hear about cool things
Yeah.
that other people have done. Maybe get an idea for, maybe, hey, you know what? That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm
I'd
gonna
like
try
to
that.
I'd like to jump off the stratosphere.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes open
I
for
recommend it.
hummingbirds.
I'd like to be ashtray guy.
I'd like to
Yeah.
bang 2 porn stars at a Florence and the Machine concert.
After
yeah.
the
Specific.
concert.
Somebody said, I thought it was cool when I saw an older man choking while having dinner at a restaurant. I performed the Heimlich maneuver and I saved his life. Pretty cool. They even comped my food and my drinks.
Damn, that is
Wow.
crazy. You're a hero.
And somebody said, I used to work on a boat that did funerals at sea, and people brought doves all the time, and they would crash into the ocean. We had to try to save them, and the people were always traumatized.
Maybe just skip that part of it.
Exactly.
Bring that ass back like a boom, 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 boom.
So what's the coolest thing you've ever done? 877-44-WOODY. That's 877-44-WOODY. On the text, somebody says, true story, I was 16 years old in Vegas with my family for New Year's, and I ran over my cousin's abusive husband with his own car.
Oh, hell yeah.
And when the cops were called, they realized how much of a douchebag he truly was and let me go. No consequences whatsoever.
Wow.
We have a winner.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
like
so
it.
the way Last Man Standing works, we set the topic in this case, what's the coolest thing you've ever done? And then on the phones, you call in, you share your story. We hear the first one, then the second one, decide which out of the two sticks around. And we just keep doing that till the end of the segment. Whichever one's left at the end, they will be the winner and give themselves a prize. Let's go to, how about Carissa? Good morning, Carissa.
Hi, Carissa.
Good morning.
Good
How are you
morning.
guys?
We're doing great. All right, so what's the coolest thing you've ever done?
So my now husband and I traveled down to the southernmost city in the world, Ushuaia in Patagonia, and we crossed the Drake Passage over to Antarctica with like 25-foot waves. And over in Antarctica, we ended up getting married.
Oh.
The ship had, I know, oh babe. The ship had someone conducting the ceremony, and there were just penguins waddling all around us, and we legally got married there. And then afterwards, we did a polar plunge in the Antarctic waters. It was
Wow.
like 25 degrees.
How long
the
can you
most
stay in
freezing
there?
Water ever. Not long at all. It really takes your breath away.
Yeah, no
about
kidding.
Heck no.
Half a second.
God, I'm a cold water
Could
pussy.
never do that.
Yeah.
Greg and I are
Oh,
constantly.
me too. Never again.
Yeah. All right, Carissa, hang on one second. All right, so she got married in Antarctica with penguins.
After
That's
going to the
incredible.
southernmost part of the world.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Let's go to Matthew. Hey, good morning, Matthew.
Hey, good morning. Love
Morning.
you guys.
Love you, babe.
Hey.
All right, so what's the coolest thing you've ever done?
So my coolest thing, and it's definitely my proudest moment, everybody might not think it's cool, but I actually delivered my now 7-year-old son at home in the bathtub, just me and not with mom anymore, but his mom. So delivered him
Gross.
all by myself.
Yeah.
Was
Hate
that the
it.
plan?
He was
or was it
born
an accident?
7 years old? That's cool. That's pretty wild.
No, he's
All
now
babies should be like
7.
that.
Oh, he's 7 now. Got
got
it.
it.
Okay, I thought you gave birth
Yeah.
to a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Was the plan for you to deliver
That
it?
would be something. My ex she wanted to do the all natural route and at home, and
Hippie.
so I looking back at it, it might have been one of the dumbest things we've ever done also.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
did the homework and the research, and everything went well, and yes, sir.
You're
All right.
legally a doctor now.
Okay,
Terrible.
so who is going to move on to the next round.
Should
What do you
we say
say?
it together?
Yeah, definitely married with penguins.
Really?
Penguins.
Oh yeah, the married
Penguins.
thing. The baby thing
I don't
grosses
even
me
like.
out.
I don't
too.
even like the penguins one, but I'm voting for that one.
Between that one,
No, I
what?
think Matthew, he delivered his own baby.
That's gross.
What's
Gross.
cooler than that?
But what situation would I rather be
Yeah,
in?
you
The
Yeah.
didn't have
penguins.
to do that.
All right, Chris is moving on. Hey, Matthew, thank you for the call. Hey, one last question. Did you get to chew the cord off with your teeth?
Not like a beaver.
Yeah, like.
I probably could have if I wanted to, but I did cut it myself.
Okay.
Oh,
All right,
wow.
well, Matthew,
Gross.
thank you for the call. Appreciate that. All right, so now it's the Antarctica penguin story. And then we have Mia. Hey, good morning, Mia.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, so what's the coolest thing you've ever done?
Okay, so back in the early 2000s, Tony Hawk had his Boom Boom Hug Jam going around.
Yep.
At this point, I was in Atlanta, and I had a buddy, Neil, that I grew up with in Redondo. Hit his mom up, knew that he was on the circuit with the guys. He hit up Rick Thorne, which was their MC of the night. Rick was going to let me backstage to go say hi to the boys and everything that was skating and BMXing and stuff. Security wouldn't let me in, so he ended up throwing me on the tour bus, and he ended up throwing me on Benji and Joel from Good Charlotte's tour bus.
Good Charlotte's tour
So
bus.
so we hung out with those dudes and played with a lot of nose candy. And then after the show,
Allegedly.
Allegedly,
It's her story,
and
not
then
yours,
after
Menace.
the show,
Yeah.
they're like, "Well, what the f-bomb do we do out here?" And I'm like, "Well, there's a lot of cool little clubs we can go see." So I took them on like a little tour of prominent. We'd like to take our clothes off clubs. The club, the
All right.
Pink Pony, and the Cheetah.
Okay.
And I got to carry Dave Mirra himself until he told me he had $1 million legs. So I dropped him on purpose just for being a douchebag. And partied all night with them and got
the
them
bus.
to the state line so they can go on to their next stop.
Okay. There's Mia.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Sorry to put her on hold before the story went on.
Yeah, it's a lot of
We,
story.
we got it.
Yeah.
So she was on the tour bus with Good Charlotte, did a bunch of blow, and partied all night with him in strip clubs.
Yeah.
All right. So who gets your vote, Gina Grad?
It's a good story, but I feel like I've heard it before. We get the vibe. I like the penguins.
The Penguins. Okay. Greg Gorey.
Yeah, I agree with Gina's take on that.
All right.
I'm going wedding.
Menace.
I think we're jaded because we're around a lot of artists.
Yeah.
I think if you're just like going to hang out with some artists and then
Yeah.
go to strip club, that's pretty
Well,
cool.
who gets your vote?
So I'm going with strip club and hanging out with artists.
Okay.
I'm going married with the penguins.
Wow. Married with the Penguins carries again. But Mia, thank you for the call. Appreciate you listening to the Woody Show.
Always.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye. All right. Let's go to Bree. Hey. Good morning, Bree.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. What's the coolest thing you've ever done?
So I used to go dance at Headhunters in Austin, and we did sideshow acts, and there was a 2-story club. And so I hung from hooks to Rob Zombie's song, Living Dead Girl, and then that came from Hooks Suspension Act. They have a video of me hanging and dancing in midair, and so I guess Metal and Lace got called, or not Metal and Lace, Bar Rescue got called in for our bar, and we ended up performing for them, and I got to see reality TV be performed in multiple takes, and they used my suspension act for Bar Rescue.
Sweet.
wow.
Okay.
I love
so
that show.
suspended from hooks
like
of a
three.
2-story building.
Yeah.
How? What were the hooks hooked to?
Like a harness?
My back. It was
Yeah,
4-point suspension. I was dancing
That's
in
what
air.
I was checking on.
Yeah. No. We're not in her skin.
Yeah, in her skin.
No.
What were the hooks
Yeah.
in your physical body?
They were
Yeah, so
actually.
You never seen that?
That's what we're checking.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought she had like a harness of
no,
some
no.
kind.
She's like
They
body
go in
mod.
you.
Yeah.
She has like body
Good
mod.
God, Bree.
Yeah.
No.
It's pretty
Oh my
insane,
God.
man.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Were you in the lotus position?
Jeez, and I like you got to move around. Like, wouldn't it tear out?
I know.
No, it doesn't.
So, actually, we taper it larger so it doesn't bleed. No real damage
Wow.
or anything.
All right, well let's get some votes here. Greg Gorey, who gets your vote?
I mean, I admire that she can do that, but that freaks me out. So I'm going to stick with the wedding in Antarctica.
All right, Gina.
See, she thinks the coolest part of her story is the reality TV, but we think
Right,
the craziest
the
part
hooks.
is the hooks. So I got to go penguin because we don't because it's a different. It's not the reality TV part that impresses me.
I'm going hooks.
Just for
I'm
the
going
ability.
Hooks. Yeah, so you're going the Penguins.
Penguins.
All right.
I'm going hooks all day.
Hooks.
Up,
Sammy.
to Sammy.
Penguins.
Penguins.
Wow.
Oh, God, where'd Seabass go? Yeah. All right, Bree, thank you for the call. Appreciate listening to the Woody Show. That's, wow. Damn. Just like hooks.
I know,
Imagine
it's
trying that for the
insane.
first time.
No.
We used
I
to-
think I'm going to try
No.
this hook thing.
The reason I know all
All right.
about it is because we used to work with somebody that did that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's go to Nicole. Hey, good morning, Nicole.
Morning.
All right, so coolest thing you've ever done. What is it?
Well, I used to be a zookeeper, and I've done a lot of cool animal experiences, but I used to intern in Texas at a big cat rescue, so I lived on site with 50-plus tigers, lions. We had a lion cub hanging out in our house with us at night, so
Dude, like
pretty
Tiger
cool
King.
experience. Yeah, except a lot more legal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you bottle feed it?
We didn't bottle feed it, but we got to feed it meat.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, that's cool.
And were you up close with them?
Oh, yeah, I got to, with the baby, I got to cuddle with it, but with the big ones,
Oh, wow.
and pet them through the fence.
Did your arm get ripped off like Tiger King?
No, I stayed safe, although I did get to touch someone right up close when they were sick and under anesthesia.
Oh, yeah, I would do that.
Okay. All right, so that's Nicole's story.
She got to wrestle with baby.
I tell you what, since we have two animal stories back to back
Yeah.
and that we're voting on, I'm going to let the listeners decide on this one.
Okay. Smart.
All right, because like if you guys aren't gonna vote for like meat hooks and doing blow with Good Charlotte, like I think this is as like wild as we're gonna get, you guys, with this group. If we just leave it up to you guys,
So crazy.
like
you
the
guys-
softer the better. What the hell happened to
You
this
didn't vote for
show?
the guy who delivered his own baby.
But
Yeah, but that's
I know, but that's
gross.
just disgusting.
That's
Well,
not-
that-
Look, hanging
that's
things
not
gross.
cool.
That's the thing. My point was her cool part of the story. She was like, I got to see how a reality TV show went. I'm like, no.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not the part, girl.
I agree. 562, a bunch of softies. You guys
Yeah.
are going soft. Penguins and wedding stories. Nuclear eye roll.
How cute.
Yeah, God. All right. Well, Nicole, hang on one second. We're gonna get the listener vote on this one.
But how many people have been to Antarctica?
Thank
Not that
you.
many.
Right.
All right,
Married
so-
to penguins.
Pretty cool.
You're gonna
People don't
vote
wanna
for wedding with penguins or taking care of baby tigers and lions. So text your vote.
Adorable option.
Penguins or lions?
Penguins or lions.
It's double gay.
Over to 22987.
Woody Show.
Great. Now you come back in. Thank you, Seabass.
Hey, you're the one who-
I could have
We
used
need you
you.
in the voting.
You're the one who hired all these vaginas, which I support as a feminist.
I could have used you in here. Now we're down to married in Antarctica with penguins or taking care of babies like tigers and lions.
Nice.
Adorable.
Thank you.
That's a pretty cool job.
Somebody said hooks. None of this cutesy crap. Another one says neither. We all lose.
That's
Penguins,
their
are
vote.
you kidding? Have you seen videos of the Drake Passage? That alone is cool. Penguins for the win.
Thank you.
Yes.
Going to the southernmost part?
Yeah.
25-foot waves.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Someone says having the finances to be able to go get married with penguins is nice and all, but being suspended from hooks off a 2-story building is objectively rad as hell.
Yeah.
Y'all are lame.
I voted hooks.
She
Don't
didn't
put me
say
in the
that
mix
was
in there.
the cool part.
Yeah, all right, whatever. Still, she did it,
It was bar rescue.
and that was
Yeah.
part of the story. That was part of the story.
Half for people.
Yeah. All right. Well, the results are in, and ladies and gentlemen, winner of this round of Last Man Standing, what's the coolest thing you've ever done, is Carissa, and the story about getting married in Antarctica with the penguins.
She went the
Yes.
distance. The full thing.
Yeah.
Did the
so-
polar plunge?
Yeah. Well, congratulations,
Yeah.
Carissa. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
cute.
Thank you. I
You're-
forgot to mention we got meat hooks put in our back. When we did the
see?
plunge.
Okay, good.
Carissa.
Should have led with that.
Yeah. And then you got to shoot the penguins with a penguin cannon.
They hooked penguins.
Yeah. Pretty cool. All right, Carissa, hang on one second. We'll get all your information. And Nicole, thank you so much for calling in and give us some of your time this morning. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. All right, bye. Oh, no.
Bye.
Yeah, all right, Nicole, thank you.
Damn.
More Woody shows coming up.